Police in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, had two suspicious deaths. Eric Miller's death was caused by a massive dose of arsenic. 6 weeks later, Eric's friend, Darrell Willard, committed suicide. The two had been together at the bowling alley on the night Eric Miller fell ill.
Darrell, completely out of character for him, according to everybody we talked to, buys a pitcher of beer while they're waiting for a lane to free up. But when Eric took his first swallow of beer, it doesn't taste quite right.
And shortly before Darrell Willard committed suicide, he had confessed to his wife that he had been having an affair with Ann Miller, Eric's wife.
We don't know whether or not he told his wife anything else about his potential involvement with arsenic or Eric Miller at the bowling alley.
Investigators searched Willard's work computer and phone records. They also searched Ann Miller's. They found ample evidence of the affair.
From the middle of October until Eric's death, she's got 500 cell phone calls to Darrell Willard's desk, to his house, or to his cell phone. She's called him over 500 times.
Ann also sent Darrell emails.
I want to make you feel so many things. I want to show you new things. I want to touch places in you that you didn't know existed. You better leave the women alone. You have me.
Ann Miller and Darrell Willard both worked together at the same pharmaceutical company. Investigators learned they spent a weekend together at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Chicago shortly before Eric's death. They registered as Mr. and Mrs. Darrell Willard. But hotel employees later confirmed that the woman was Ann Miller.
Ann and Darrell ordered a lot of room service.
Just 3 days later, when Eric Miller was in the hospital, investigators learned that his wife Ann contacted another man with whom she was having an affair, a fellow scientist living in California.
Ann said, "My husband is gravely ill, but if I could buy you a beach house and spend the night with you, I would do it in a heartbeat."
She also said in that email communication that he could call the house and they could speak by phone because their in-laws wouldn't know any better and they wouldn't suspect anything.
No one knows if Darrell Willard knew Ann Miller was involved with other men, but it was clear to investigators that Darrell Willard and Ann Miller both had a motive to kill Eric. At the pharmaceutical company where both Ann Miller and Darrell Willard were employed, police found arsenic.
They were using cactylic acid to clean the glassware. And at first glance, you might not know what cactylic acid, but it actually is arsenic.
This was the same type of arsenic found in Eric Miller's body, which meant the poison that killed him probably came from the lab where his wife and her lover worked.
There were some controls with regard to arsenic and access to arsenic in the lab. Those controls were not particularly tight.
But a search of both the Willard and Miller homes turned up nothing.
We had it all tested for arsenic. It all came up negative.
Although police considered Ann Miller a suspect, Eric's parents did not.
Eric's parents were very adamant that Ann was not involved. They had accepted Ann into their family. She was their daughter-in-law, and they had a good relationship with Ann.
But strangely, against the wishes of Eric's family, Ann insisted that Eric's body be cremated.
Everyone that follows any type of forensic investigation knows that the easiest way to get rid of evidence is by cremating somebody.
Eventually, Ann Miller quit her job, sold her home, and moved 3 hours away to Wilmington, North Carolina, where she refused to cooperate further with investigators. But even though Eric's body was cremated, the medical examiner kept samples from his autopsy. Investigators hoped something in these samples would prove a homicide.
Wednesday.